training your brain. You can train it for lack and you can get more of that, or you can train it for abundance, even if it's just a dime that you find. 16 years, financial stuff, this, job stuff. We were not happy in our marriage. I didn't know what to do. We're digging ourselves deeper into debt. We're doing okay raising my kids, but that was kind of the only thing I felt like I was doing a good job at. I hit a brick wall and I just kind of crashed and burned and was sort of down for the count for a couple years. And my kids are like, why is mom crying all the time? Also perimenopause like adds a little twist. What's perimenopause? What's my life circumstances? It was so many things all at once.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Find Your Flow. Here's the thing, listener. It was probably the end of summer. I had this thought. What is it about manifestation? It's everywhere. It seems to be absolutely everywhere. And the thing that bothers me about it is that there's this misconception that it's sort of like make a wish, blow out the candle, and everything comes true. Rub the lamp and the genie comes out. And that, I think, disempowers the individual. And I also feel that it puts this disconnect between you and a literal skill that you can learn. It's a skill set. You have it. I have it. Everybody has it. It's just a matter of do we hone that skill? Do we work with that skill? And if that's the case where you're sitting there going, I've manifested the shit out of my life and nothing seems to be working. And a lot of manifesting gurus and specialists out there will probably tell you you're not doing it hard enough. I'm here to tell you that's wrong. And let's debunk it. So I have with me here today, Tina Levinson. And she is a neuroscience coach. How about that, everybody? She is going to teach us the science behind manifesting and how can we start changing things to be able to live the lives that we are dreaming of. Tina, welcome into the studio with me. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here too. Listener, I am honored with Tina's very first podcast appearance, her first guest appearance. Thank you. I truly, I don't say that lightly. I am honored to have you here with me.
Well, thank you.
I saw you on Instagram. Every syllable out of your mouth, I was screaming, yes, that's exactly it. Like the way you explain things, the way you teach, and how open you are about it all. It's just so very matter of fact. And that's what I love the most about you.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. Now, to kick this off, I ask my guests the same questions.
Okay.
And that leads us into what it is that you do, how you do it, and where everybody can find you and work with you.
Okay, great.
Because everybody, you're going to want to find her. You're going to want to work with her. My very first question, Tina, is what does flow mean to you?
So I think about this a lot because I've been through so much in the past few years that sort of launched all of this, where I was so clearly not in flow. And when things started to turn around, because I kind of had done the inner work and you feel things come more effortlessly for you. And it doesn't mean that you haven't done the work to get there. It just means that everything is not you're not white knuckling everything. Everything isn't an uphill battle. Doors just kind of start to open and if you're aware and you're tuned in enough, you kind of can sort of walk through them a little bit easier. You don't have to fight and claw your way where you want to go. You can get there with ease. And there's such a drastic contrast when you are not being your best self, having done the work, having your nervous system regulated. And then when you do all those things, it's just everything just kind of comes easier. And so I always talk about making manifestation feel effortless. And it's not because you haven't put in any effort. It's you have done the work that aligns yourself so that things then naturally flow to you. You've changed your energy so that the energy changes that comes towards you, Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do know. 100%. I know. This is why we're having this conversation.
Yeah. So it's sort of more about, it's more about changing yourself and how you show up and how you perceive things and the frequency that you're giving off. And then that changes everything around you.
You know, it's so interesting. Just yesterday, I recorded an episode with a woman. She's a channeler, and her specialty, I guess, if I can call it that, is that she channels with Einstein.
Oh, wow. That's
I,
wild.
it was bonkers crazy, and I'm going to have her back in a couple of weeks because we literally spent the entire hour just talking about that very thing. The biggest lesson that she learned from Einstein was that when you change yourself, all of a sudden, literally everything in your world starts to change. And it's your vibration that moves through you out your field and then starts literally showing up in the strangest of ways. The waitress, who was usually mean to everybody, was all of a sudden very talkative, very nice, very interactive. And she said, and that's when it hit her. What she was being taught was showing up like that. So it's not necessarily what she would have wished for, right? I'm going to make a wish that this one woman is nice to me. That was not her wish. Her wish was, I want to be the best version of me.
Yes.
And then boom, everything in her life started to change.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild when you put it into practice and you can see it. I mean, like one example of this was early this fall, we went and moved my daughter into college, and I went with my ex-husband, and we get along, but we're not married anymore, but we stayed with his mother, and, and I just kind of went into that being like, what if I just go into this whole experience with an attitude of gratitude? And I did.
Ooh.
And it was like night and day, the shift that, normally I come away just kind of having all sorts of negative feelings about everything. And I just went in and I was just like, everything about that weekend was different. And it was because I was different, not because anybody else showed up differently. I changed how I perceived everything. I changed my whole attitude towards everything.
So if you wanted ease for the weekend, it had to start with you.
Totally.
And then that's what you got to experience.
Totally. And gratitude is one of the easiest ways. Yeah, gratitude is one of the easiest, most simple. Anybody can do it any time of day. It's simple, and it literally turns on your prefrontal cortex and changes how you perceive the world. It changes everything. And it's simple. It's so simple.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
So is gratitude, here's a question of mine. I'm like skipping over what I normally ask my guests, but I don't care. We're going with the flow of this.
Yeah.
Is gratitude something that you fake it until you make it?
No, because there's always something that you can be grateful for. And listen, when I was really going through it, I mean, there's been a few years where I was like really in it, and I was just grumpy and miserable and thinking I was the victim of everything in my life and just totally low, really low. Mm-hmm. But even on those days, I would crawl into bed at night and I'm like, I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful for if you have to go back to basics to find what you're grateful for, do it. Like some mornings, it's just like, I am grateful I have a warm shower right now. I'm grateful, and it's like, and then I'm grateful for my kids. Like there's always something that you can be authentically grateful for, and then
is that the key?
Yeah. Yes.
Authenticity in your gratitude.
Authenticity is like the highest frequency, like it's even higher above love. And so it's just really feeling it, mm-hmm. And sometimes, there's a lot of people that kind of teach the whole, like, I am thankful I have $1 million in my bank account, even when you don't yet, or
right.
And I think there is something to that in terms of like rewiring your brain and stuff. But the key to making it all come true is the feeling it. And so if you have to go back to like basics and just, I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful that I have clothes to wear right now. I'm grateful that
mm-hmm.
I have food to, if you really have to go back to the basics to really feel it, then that feeling is kind of what helps fast track things.
So that's very interesting. I have a practice of like throughout the day, I just say, universe, I sure enjoy more money. And do you see this smile that comes onto my face? Listeners, if you're just listening and you can't see this, a very big natural ear-to-ear grin just came upon my face because I really do enjoy money. It's one of those things. When I was a kid, I always had change in my pockets because I loved the sound of it. I loved the feel of it. I loved counting my money. I loved smelling it. I would find money all the time, just walking down the street. And lo and behold, when you do that, more does start showing up in your life.
Yeah.
And with everything, if it's a dime that you find underneath the bed, you go, universe, I sure enjoy more money. And like, and
Yeah.
you go, look at that.
Yeah. I mean, it compounds, and it's like the more you
Yes.
kind of train your reticular activating system to notice those things and appreciate things, the more it's like, okay, I'm going to go find more of those things. It's really like a training your brain, and it's training your reticular activating system. And you can train it for lack and you can get more of that, or you can train it for abundance, even if it's just a dime that you find.
Yeah.
It's really just, it's like we are programmable, it's like our brains are really just kind of algorithms. It's like, how do you want to see things? You choose.
You choose. And
Yeah.
that's just it. And that whole, I'm so grateful for $1 million in my bank account when there's not. I have found, at least, and if you can explain this, that would be awesome. I have found that the more you focus on that, the very next statement is, yeah, but I don't. Right? Like, I really appreciate that $1 million in my bank account, but you look at your balance and go, but it's not there. How is that lining up? And doesn't the joy you feel in the hope of having $1 million in your account, does that get canceled out by looking at your account and going, yeah, but I don't?
I think that, look, there's a part of it that's sort of just like confident delusion, right? And then there's a part of it that is sort of like setting that as setting your like internal GPS, setting that as your destination, and then just having unwavering faith that the path will start unfolding, how you will get there. And
Yeah.
it's sort of, and so it's like, I feel like manifestation is really this fine line of doing and being. And so it's like, you have to take aligned action to get there, but you also have to really surrender and trust and have like faith that the right opportunities are going to show up. And so much of that is nervous system regulation. Like if your nervous system is regulated, and if you are aware of the patterns and limiting beliefs that are holding you back, it's like, oh, it's not in there. It's like, it's not in there yet.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I love the power of yet.
Yeah. It's super powerful. It's like, it's not in there yet. And that's just kind of calling a spade, but trusting and knowing that it is going to be there, being aware of the limiting beliefs, regulating your nervous system, and then just doing that on repeat. It's like my formula is awareness, regulation, and repetition. And it's just like, you just do that on repeat and your brain will get you there.
The brain is a muscle, everybody.
It is.
The brain is a muscle.
And it's train it. And
we just have to.
Yeah, so much of what I teach, it's sort of like, I call it like, you have to go to your mental gym. Like nobody questions going to the gym to work out your body every day, but very few people are like, oh, I have to do, like, and I call it like, your mental reps or your daily vitamins, your mental vitamins. It's like, you do this every day and it will get you where you want to go, but you do it once a week or once a month, like, you're not really going to get that strong, repetition.
Right. Just like the 6-pack doesn't come with one trip to the gym.
Exactly. And that's the same thing with manifestation. It is, and it's not something you do for a week and then you've arrived at the destination. This becomes your new practice. And the practice doesn't have to be hard. It's like the program that I have, it's 8 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be hard, but it does have to be consistent. And that consistency and that repetition is what rewires your brain. It's like an hour a week doesn't work as well as 8 minutes a day. So,
yes,
it's the doing it, and this becomes your new normal. And then the more you do it, the easier it feels to do. It doesn't feel it doesn't feel hard. It doesn't feel like something you're dreading doing. You actually look forward to it because you're seeing the effects and you're feeling better because you're seeing things start to materialize and you're seeing doors start to open and you're like, oh wait, this works. And then that gives you dopamine and then that keeps you coming back for more. So it's
absolutely.
Like, you just kind of got to start the ball rolling and then it starts snowballing and it becomes pretty easy, And that's what I say when manifestation becomes effortless,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So can you take the listeners and myself back on your journey? What brought you to this? You mentioned that there was some hardship that brought you to a point of, I got to figure this out. What was that? What was that point for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess in a way it sort of started 16 years ago. My mom died. I had, a newborn and a toddler. My husband was super busy with work. I was working. It was just, and then we just had one thing after the other for like, the last 16 years has just been,
Yeah.
financial stuff, this job stuff, that, so many things. And it just got to this point 3 years ago where I hit a wall and I didn't realize that I had been in fight or flight for, the last 16 years.
Yeah.
And I hit a wall. We were not happy in our marriage. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get out. I basically had a full blown midlife crisis. Whereas, like,
Absolutely.
I didn't like my job. I knew it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't know how to transition into something else. I was so stuck, like frozen, just like fight or flight, but also like freeze, like just kind of like a deer in headlights. Like, we're digging ourselves deeper into debt and we're just, and it's like, I'm doing okay raising my kids, but that was, kind of the only thing I felt like I was doing a good job at.
Yeah.
And I hit a brick wall and I just kind of crashed and burned and, you know, was sort of down for the count for a couple years. And my kids are like, why is mom crying all the time? Also perimenopause, like adds a little twist, it's like I'm 40 now.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a real thing. So I was like, what's perimenopause? What's my life circumstances? It was so many things all at once. My therapist was just like, you're dealing with 5 major life things that any one of these things could bring you down. You have like 5 of them going on at one time. And so it was
Does that make me a champion or a complete loser?
Well, I just kept being like, am I just not handling life fairly well, or is this a
Right.
lot? And he was like, this is a lot, it's
Yes.
a lot. And so, and then you beat yourself up because you're like, God, why am I not handling this better? And like
Yes.
that person is doing, and you start comparing and it's just like
That whole comparison. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I just was down and I was like pretty depressed. I was just crying all the time. And I was, on an antidepressant. I had 2 therapists. I was doing hypnotherapy. I was doing EMDR and like nothing was like snapping me out of it. I just kept talking
Yeah.
about my problems. Like I just kept basically reinforcing those like neural loops.
Yep.
I was just like, but what was me? And I really felt like all these things happened to me. And I was like this victim. And I was just like, I didn't have the wherewithal to like get myself out of it. And then one day I heard this quote from Joe Dispenza and it was like, you change your energy, you change your life. And I was just kind of like, huh. And it just launched me down this path where I became totally obsessed. And I was just listening and reading and learning everything I could about it. And then I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this place called the Hoffman Institute.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So I eventually was kind of just like, I think I need like to go somewhere and just see if like I can kind of really snap myself out of it. So I went there and it's basically you go and it's a week and you hand in your phone and you learn all about your patterns. And you understand that everything that's running your life is basically, programmed from like age 0 to 7. You just understand, you unpack, your metaphorical like suitcase. It's like all the stuff that kind of you've been carrying with you that isn't necessarily yours, but you've been carrying it your whole life, like teachers and society and parents and friends and like all this stuff gets programmed into you. And you think it's just you, but you can kind of unpack all that and understand that it's not you. And you kind of like start rediscovering like who the real you is. And so then once you're kind of aware of like the patterns that are running your life and like all the limiting beliefs that those are causing, you have this awareness. And so then you can kind of make a different choice. And then really understanding like just the power of nervous system regulation within all of that and how important that is. And then kind of breaking it down. And I just I started to feel better. I started to feel really empowered. I started to understand like that I am in the driver's seat of my life. Like
Right.
I don't have to be the victim to all of these things that like happened to me. And like now, of course, I understand, like, of course they happened for me, like all of this. And it got really, I think the universe was kind of just like, we're going to hammer you with this until you understand. So it's like, we tried to whisper, but you weren't listening. So
you ignored me. So
yeah, you ignored me. So we got really loud. And so, it just got to a point where like, I was like, this is not how I'm going to live my life. Like, I am not going to be this person that stays like this forever, like, let's
Right.
figure it out. And so I just started doing the work and I started doing it consistently. And I started seeing drastic changes. And then all of a sudden, I didn't know there was such a thing as a neuroscience coach. I knew I was obsessed with it, and I knew it was all I wanted to talk about, and I talked to everybody about it, and I'm fascinated, and I'm constantly thinking about it, and I have all these different ways to like describe it to myself or to my friends that I hadn't heard before. But I never knew that there was like a neuroscience coach. And then like, sure, as things work out, it's like I came across thing and it was like, become a certified neuroscience coach. And I was like, oh, I'll do that.
Done.
Yeah, totally. And then I was kind of like, okay, how do I market this? And that just sort of, I felt like I had so much in me that it sort of became therapeutic for me to start putting things on Instagram. Like it just, I had to get it out, and whether somebody saw it or not didn't really even matter. Like it was kind of like, for me, it was almost like to like a little like diary place of like, and almost like something like maybe someday my kids can go here and learn something from me. And like, this is just kind of a place where I can put all this for them to kind of someday if they,
it's like a modern scrapbook.
Totally. And so that's kind of how it started. And then it just kind of started to, explode a little bit. It just, and as life is funny because it's like I was a graphic designer before. I didn't love it. Like I was doing it because I could, but like I never felt like I was very good at it. And this just sort of became something where I was just like, it was so clear that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like it doesn't feel like, they always say like find a job that doesn't feel like work. I'm like, how lucky am I? Like I did that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know this existed even like a year and a half ago. Like I did, so it's new and it's like the doors just kind of started opening and I, was brave enough to kind of take the steps, even though it was totally outside of my comfort zone, So
it's amazing what happens when we start to heal up that inner voice.
Yes.
That somebody else put into our heads.
Yeah.
When we start to heal that, do find you've got a little bit of courage where you can stretch that comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, wow, I just did that.
Yeah.
And there were no negative ramifications.
Yeah.
No one yelled at me. No one told me anything horrible. So I'm going to stretch a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until you have this sort of resiliency to be able to stand in who you are in this identity.
Yeah.
There's a common theme, and it's the whole reason this podcast for me is like your Instagram account.
Yeah. It's just therapeutic.
It's extremely therapeutic.
Yeah.
I love learning. And I'm such a geek for all of this.
Yeah.
That I want to have these conversations. And then I was like, if there's one person out there who can learn something, have at it. But
that's
really, this is like me time.
Yeah. That's what I kept saying to myself when I was doing it. I mean, for so long, like, nobody followed me and I was kind of like, whatever. I was still posting every day because I was like, I love this. I have so much to say. I will never run out of things to say. And I just kept saying to myself, like, is what I'm saying true? Yes. Is what I'm saying helpful? Yes. Okay. Keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
It's utterly amazing because you just worked your own program. Like you just literally lived.
That's what it is. I was like, this is what I use to heal myself and to get myself out of like a really dark hole. Like I felt so stuck in there and I'm like, so it's authentic to me. Like this is what I did. And I've simplified it, now. And so it's like, I've created this program that is so simple that anybody can do it, but it's also, the science is there. So it is totally effective,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that it's 8 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Because anybody can do that. That's
Anybody
like
can
the
do that.
5-minute abs. 8-minute abs, 7-minute abs. Like they just kept getting shorter and shorter with the amount of time.
Nobody
but it's
has
the same
an excuse.
concept.
Yeah.
You just don't. Right.
Yeah.
And I love that it's just this little check-in reminder every single day. That starts off, listener, if you feel like you're in a dark place, because that's literally who this audience is, right? You're at a point where, like you said, I was at a breaking point. I didn't know which end was up anymore. I was totally burned out. I was doing something that I was good at, but didn't necessarily fulfill me. And then had no clue what the hell, which end is up. I remember being there. I remember being in that point in my life. When the kids were little, some days it truly was, the benchmark was we all woke up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Okay. We're all awake. Excellent.
Yes.
Do we get dressed? Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Lower the bar, and then you can find gratitude in it.
Lower the bar so that you're always a win, right?
Yes.
I think, feel, know that 2026 is a time to embrace more wealth, more opportunity, more prosperity, more joy, more happiness. But we sort of have to get it together. So to get us there, I created a program called the Held Container. Let me ask you a question. Does your life work because you feel you hold everything together? You brace for things. You brace for life. If you can say yes to that, then I invite you to pause. Take a breath. The Held Container is a small, intentional program designed to replace bracing with structure so your nervous system can rest and money no longer feels stressful or overwhelming. This isn't about pushing harder, fixing yourself, or doing more. It's about creating safety, stability, support where you've been carrying everything alone. I've opened this program for only 6 people who are ready to allow money to feel safe instead of stressful and to experience what it's like to be held by structure rather than pressure. I think we can all identify with that. So if this feels calm instead of exciting, your system is already responding to the Held Container. Apply now. Apply at nagarelife.com. I hope we get to work together. That's first things first. Lower the bar so you're always a win.
Yeah.
And that low benchmark, that low bar that you can stumble over is this. It's this program. It's rewiring your brain so that you become the creator of your life.
Exactly. And it's the daily, I made it 8 minutes a day so you can do it every day because it's the daily check-in with yourself, like creates nervous system safety. And you can't be a creator in your life if your nervous system is dysregulated. Like that's number one. So you're living in survival and you're just recreating survival if you're living in dysregulation. And so and the checking in with yourself every day is every day you're telling your nervous system you're safe. It starts to rewire your brain and then everything changes from there.
So every morning I have a practice of I wake up, I put on a sound healing and I do a meditation. And then I go into my personal exercises, which rewire my brain every single day, starts off the exact same. So it's predictable.
Yep.
And my nervous system knows you don't have to wake up in fight, flight, fear. I'm an avoider. So like I freeze.
Yeah.
So every morning I go, how am I held? How am I held in my life?
And,
what supports me
and then
in
your
my
nervous
life?
system feels safe. And also it's part of your routine. So it doesn't feel hard to do, I'm sure, at this point.
It's minutes.
It's just what
literally.
you do. Yeah.
It's minutes. And then the sound healing plays while I check email and start working on different projects and whatnot. But I will not go into creation mode until that has been done.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And
it's so
what
powerful.
I've noticed. Yeah, it really is. Because what I've noticed is when that was flipped or, if I push it off until say like end of day, nighttime, chances are it didn't happen. Because you're just kind of like, oh, I'll do it in an hour. I'll do it this afternoon. I'll do it right before bedtime. But then I'm too tired and I fall asleep and I've got a nighttime routine. And then the house is, you can have every excuse in the world.
Right. Yeah.
But if you do this as your gift to yourself every single day and start your day off like this, not only is your flow throughout the day with more ease, you create from a space of calm.
Yeah. And like the neuroscience translation of what is happening is you're calming your amygdala and you're turning your prefrontal cortex on. And so it's like if your amygdala is not like in fight or flight, like it can go to sleep for the day and your prefrontal cortex is where all the magic happens. That's where opportunities and intuition and ideas and solutions comes. And so it's like then you're spending your day in that mode versus like fight or flight where your prefrontal cortex is turned off and you can't see in front of you any
and
solution.
trust is so much easier.
Yeah.
So when challenges come, my first instinct is there are two things that enter my mind. If something challenging comes into my life, the very first one is, oh, that was for me.
Yes.
There's a reason for that. There's a purpose
There's
for
a
that. And then
lesson.
my analytical brain wants to go off on that tangent and go,
Yeah.
well, what is it? And how is it? And, because I get excited by that. And then my very second thought is, so if what I wanted isn't what was just delivered, then how good is the thing that gets delivered?
I know. I say
ooh.
that to myself. I'm like, oh, if this didn't work out and I really, really wanted this to work out, I can't
Imagine.
wait to meet
Yes.
what's next, because
What's
that's
next?
gonna be great. And then
It's a total game changer.
yeah, and then you can kind of start to understand and see why certain things didn't work out, and you're like, oh, that wasn't what I thought it was. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Okay. And then now there's gratitude for that experience.
And you're building that trust muscle again. And so then
yes.
you can kind of start to trust when things don't work out. It's because there is truly something better for you.
Yes, absolutely. So listeners, I hope you understand that what we perceive as bad is literally just a label we put it on. We put on it. Nothing is actually bad. Everything is for us. It just might not be what we expected. So let's change the narrative on that.
Yeah. Everything is a gift. It just might not be wrapped in the right wrapping paper that you were hoping for,
That, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Right? It's like, I don't know, your birthday presents have Christmas wrapping paper on them. And you're going, yeah, but it's not the right time of year and I don't understand. It doesn't change what's in it. What's in it is awesome.
Yes. Yeah, it is a gift. You just have to, appreciate it and be open to learning the lesson that comes with it.
Absolutely. 100%.
And they're not always, listen, I still have a lot of moments where I'm like, but it's like you develop the tools and the wherewithal and the trust over time. So you can kind of, when something kind of knocks you off center, you can kind of get yourself back to center a lot quicker.
Yeah. I like to say that I've gone from like completely collapsing on the ground to just being sort of like a weeble wobble.
Yes.
You
I
fall
always
over
say I'm
and then
like
you
a
bounce
weeble
back
wobble.
up.
Yeah. It's totally how I describe a lot of how I've been the last few years. I'm just like, boop, 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 get back up.
Yes. And the resiliency is in the bounce back, that weeble wobble effect.
Yeah. There was a minute where
listeners,
I was like,
if you're too young for that, look up weeble wobble.
Yeah. There was a minute where I felt like maybe it was taking me down. Then I was like, nope, I'm not staying here. We're getting back up again. Let's figure it out.
So that's just it. And I think that every single human being on this planet at some point in their lives hits that wall and says, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get back up. My entire life just fell apart.
Yeah.
I just don't know where I am or what's going on. What is that first step that listener can do to be able to get back up on their own feet and then start to move forward in their lives in a much more healthy way?
Yeah. Always the first step is regulation, It's
Can
like
you please explain that? So we have discussed like dysregulated nervous system, regulated nervous system. Can you just explain what those terms mean and then what are the symptoms that go along with that?
It's your parasympathetic nervous system and your sympathetic nervous system. So, when you're in fight or flight or freeze or fawn, your prefrontal cortex can't work. You can't find solutions. And so, but when you are regulated, your prefrontal cortex is lit up and everything, and your heart and your brain are in coherence. And when your heart and brain are in coherence, life becomes easy. And so, but I think a lot of people think like nervous system regulation is all just like sitting cross-legged, like meditating for an hour a day. And it doesn't, it can be so simple. And so a lot of what I teach is micro shifts. And so one of the most simplest things that you can do is like the physiological sigh. So it's like you do that 3 or 4 times and you've just changed your baseline in, a period of 2 minutes. And so, and you do that several times a day. And so I think of it as like micro shifts. So it's like, it's like even if you're only depositing like a dime into your account every time, like over time, those dimes add up and then there's compound interest. And so over time it adds up. So it's like you don't have to sit and meditate for an hour a day. You can take those breaths, take one an hour, take one a day to start. You can go for a 5-minute walk. Say you want to start, running, but just like, okay, well, maybe today you just put on your sneakers and you walk down the driveway. How can you just be moving forward? You don't have to get overwhelmed with the end goal, right away, but how can you just be moving forward? And there's so many ways that you can regulate, it's like go outside and just be in nature, just stand on the ground, stand barefoot outside. That's super grounding. The laziest thing I like to do when I have no energy, but I really feel like dysregulated, I just lay in my bed and I listen to binaural beats on my headphones. And it is so calming, and so it's like there's lazy ways to do it too. You can be super active and go for a run if you want, but it doesn't have to be hard and it doesn't have to be overwhelmingly huge. It can be just tiny little shifts that you make throughout your day, and those add up over time. Those
I
so
love
if
that.
you change your direction during the day, like even just 1%, like the trajectory of that over time, you're going to a different destination than had you stayed here,
That's
and
right.
it's like the more you kind of do it, the further you kind of get from where you were going. So it's like figure out what destination you want to go to, and then sort of like take baby steps to get there.
Baby, yeah.
I think so many
I like
times
that you called it micro shifts. I love that.
Yeah, I think so many times people just get overwhelmed and they shut down.
Right, because they're like, no, I wanted to make a 90-degree turn.
Yeah.
When quite literally a quarter inch of progress is still progress.
Exactly. It's like, and so my kind of motto to myself when I was like going through it was just like one step forward, at least take one step forward every day.
Yes.
If I can take 10 steps, great.
Oh yeah, huge.
And if there are days when like maybe I take a couple steps back, which of course there are, it's like I am still taking action forward.
That's right. Because sometimes even just recognizing I took 2 steps back.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is progress. Because think about the time where you had absolutely no idea what you were doing.
Totally.
Right? Like you weren't even paying attention and somehow digging yourself deeper into a hole of despair.
Yeah.
Just being able to recognize that is huge progress.
I mean, that's the awareness part of like my, formula. Yeah. It's like just being aware and also not judging yourself, like being aware.
Oh, that.
Yeah. Without judgment of it, because it's like, you might be aware that you're overreacting in a certain situation. But next time you do it, maybe you take one more pause before you react. And then the next time you do it, maybe you take 2 more pauses before you react. And then the next time, maybe there's enough space in between where you're aware, where you actually have the conscious, you can make a different choice. And where you have choice, you have power.
That's right.
You don't always have to make the right choice, but at least you have the power of that you have a choice. You are not helpless.
And it's conscious.
It's conscious and intentional. Yes.
You're totally aware. Yep. And then your intention is to always do what's best for you.
Yeah.
Always.
And there are going to be times when, it's a process. You're not going to just like change overnight. So there are going to be times where you still react the old way. And just say, maybe just say, oh, I did that the old way. Next time I'm going to work on doing that the new. It's just, it's not beating yourself up about it. It's not judging yourself. Yeah. It's just being aware.
Yeah.
And that's super
And
powerful.
knowing that that's a huge win.
Totally.
Knowing that you just did something according to old programming is a huge win.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
When people bad themselves, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, because you're acknowledging that it is an old program. And just that wherewithal and that awareness is huge.
It's fantastic. This is fantastic. My brain is exploding.
Yeah, I mean,
so when you can you please
simple it all is.
It's so very, very simple.
Yeah.
However, I do think that when people see neuroscience, they go, oh, yeah, there's no way I could understand that. There's no way that I could learn from that. That's so beyond me. It's outside my scope. It's not, everybody. It's not. It's fancy words for manifestation. It's just that it's like actually making manifestation practical.
Well, and it's actually how our brains rewire. It's the science behind
just call it brain science, right? But it is your nervous system. It's your entire nervous system.
Yes.
One thing that I love that you said you can start with something simple is just like movement, literally just movement. So part of I don't know. I can't remember if I mentioned this at the beginning of the episode, but in case I didn't, part of I get obsessed with things. So part of my obsession for 2026 was to make manifestation something very tangible, very, very real, take it out of that whole magical, mystical, I make wishes bullshit and bring it down to practicality. This is the science behind it.
Yeah.
So for listeners, if you were on my mailing list, then you received an email in November to start preparing. You had all of December to really start preparing and making these new habits in your life so that 2026 would be something completely different, a different experience than what you've ever done prior to. And part of that, the very first thing I said was your body. Got to get your body just moving in a different way. And that is really to tap into and stimulate or massage or soothe your nervous system so that you can be calm, so that you don't have these neural impulses that sort of just explode as anxiety throughout your entire body.
Yeah.
And when I say they explode as anxiety, that can look like a muscle spasm, a cramp, literal anxiety, and you're sweating, your heart is pounding, your vagus nerve is firing on all cylinders, you've got brain fog, you start heartburn, you start headaches, and all of these many, many things. So get your body in check. So your nervous system is not just like the nerves that we all learned about in biology. There's also a system through your fascia, which is an awesome, where your nervous system is like this highway and thoroughfare. The fascia is this gelatinous mesh over top of all of it that helps move nerve impulses with efficiency through your body. So movement allows for these different nerve impulses to move very, very easily through your body. So if you suffer from things like depression, anxiety, overwhelm, brain fog, all of these fear, all of these negative, I'm air quoting for those who are listening, these negative emotions, movement is huge. And that's not woo-woo bullshit. That is actual science. It is literally grounded in science.
Yeah. I mean, it's
so
like
if it's the
anxiety is
5
like
steps
stuck
out your
energy.
door.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Starts moving stuck energy.
It's stuck energy. And another way of looking at it that I think is clever because it's just a good way to describe it. It's like emotional constipation. It's just like, it's just like all this stuff that just hasn't been able to get out. And if you just move, and even if it's for 2 minutes, even if you're at work and you just get up and you just shake your hand, it's just like any bit of movement that you can do. There's nobody that doesn't feel better after they move.
That's right. That's right. Get up, yawn, stretch, do something.
Yeah. Like when I was like,
get your body going
deep in it, a few years ago, I just started, I mean, I have dogs, so it's also helpful, but it's like, I started my morning. It's like, I got the kids off to school and I don't do anything until I go outside for a walk. I don't care if it's 0 degrees, 100 degrees, pouring rain. Like I go for a walk first thing every morning, no matter what. And now I go to yoga every morning. And so, and that's just, and I've done it so much, it's not hard to do. It's just what I do. It's just the routine. And so it's like part of manifestation also is like creating new habits.
Yes. Yes. So if you want to create a new life, what does that new you do?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so, it's like creating, what identity do you want? What is that person's habits of that new identity? And then just start doing that. It's like, I didn't always.
And that in and of itself rewires your brain.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you really have to change who you are. And part of that too, is that I had to go through is kind of like grieving the loss of the old
100%. Absolutely.
It's like you really have to create like a whole new identity. And it's terrifying at times because it's you don't know who you are quite yet. And you're kind of in this phase of like becoming this new person, but you're certainly not the old person, but you definitely haven't arrived in this new identity yet. And so there's a period of change.
I call it the what the fuck phase.
Yes, totally.
Literally. You're sitting there, you're like, what in the fuck? What in the actual fuck is happening here?
Yeah. And then, but it's also just kind of like having the wherewithal that like, change is really uncomfortable. And so much of
Yes.
manifesting is being comfortable with the uncomfortable and knowing that there's an uncomfortable period that you're going to have to go through,
Yeah.
and just embracing it and just
Well,
trusting.
there's
And
that trust.
yes, trusting and knowing it's going to be messy, and knowing you're going to be awkward or put yourself out there in a way that or whatever it is that you're doing, but it is uncomfortable, very uncomfortable.
And then you'll change. A million times over, you'll change.
But it's also like, which do you choose? Do you want the uncomfortableness of staying in your old life, or do you want the temporary discomfort of building the life of your dreams?
That's right.
Your choice.
And I'll say this, like, once you wake up, like, that's what this awakening is. Everybody, that's another word that seems to frustrate me, that people think there's this. Yes, there's this great awakening.
Yes.
It's not into euphoria. It's not like all of a sudden everything is perfect.
No,
that's
it's waking
not an
up.
awakening.
It's no, the awakening is like take you to your knees, like rip you open and like expose every inner core wound that you had no idea existed, and force you to figure out how to start healing those things. Like it is not pretty. It is not.
It's like the
graceful.
Complete opposite.
Yeah.
If you watch Stranger Things, it's kind of like that.
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched that. But I was saying to one of my friends this weekend, I was just like, yeah, I feel like the last 3 years of my life have not been graceful. I was just like,
no, it's not.
It is not graceful. And it's not, but you do get through it as long as you don't live in fear and not let yourself go through it.
Exactly. When I went through my big awakening, there are plenty of times where I'm like, fuck, I really wish that I had never woken up.
Me too.
Me Ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
Like, to go back and not know anything.
Yep. Ignorance is bliss.
It's infinitely easier for sure. But, that's unrealistic. It's completely and utterly unrealistic.
Yeah.
Once you wake up and look around and go, wow, this is not the life I wanted. This is not what I thought I was doing. This is not why I'm supposed to be here. And nothing here is right. Yep. Nothing here fits me anymore. I'm in a closet filled with somebody else's clothes.
Yeah.
There's no going back from that.
Yeah, totally. There
just isn't. It's harder. It's literally harder to go back. So you might as well go, all right, pull up my pants. Let's go. Let's just wade through this like river of shit and see what's on the other side. You just have to go through it. There's no other way. But here's the thing, listener. Yeah, you can't avoid that. But also, and there are people who have already been there, who have kind of figured out what worked for them, and they're sharing it with the rest of us. It's why Tina's here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's really nice is that we live in a time right now where science is catching up with the mystical, what everybody, I'm air quoting mystical, what everybody thought was this woo-woo magic. It's like, I've never understood that, because it really is just neuroscience. It really is just physics. It really is just biology, guys. Just chemistry. The science is catching up. So what was considered completely and utterly bizarre is now grounded in science. So you're using binaural beats. I listen to binaural beats every single day, because they literally rewired my brain. Yeah. I was 10 years ago unable to walk, unable to see, hear, sit up independently. I couldn't hold anything. It was the very beginning. Yeah, that was my takedown.
That sounds rough.
It was shitty.
Yes.
I was sitting in a cesspool of shit. But it was the sound healings. It was those binaural beats that really started to rewire my brain. And on a physical level, the physiology of it was the nervous system started to repair.
Yeah.
Our bodies are meant to repair.
Yes.
That means our nervous systems are meant to repair. You can watch videos of neural impulses, and the ends are really trying to stretch so that they meet up with other neural pathways to create new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking, new ways of behaving. And that's how you start to create the life that you actually want.
Yeah.
The neuroscience is there to back it all up. That's so exciting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fast. It's like endlessly fascinating to me.
I swear to God, like I could nerd out with you
I mean, I think that's what
all
I
the
got.
time.
It's like I grew up and my dad, always meditated and always talked about like the universe and somebody's always there to, it was never like God or Jesus or anything, but it was
Yeah.
very like spiritual. And so I kind of grew up always having that inner knowing, but not really wanting to talk about it with a lot of people because they're like, what are you, like that's just woo, or
Right.
that's just like, and that's when because I've always been fascinated by this. But then once I discovered the neuroscience behind it, where I was like, oh, I can actually speak about this and it's science.
Yeah.
It's not just this isn't my opinion.
That makes
This
it
isn't
acceptable.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so it legitimized it,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it made it so something that I felt like, confident kind of like putting out there, It
Yeah.
wasn't just this isn't just my opinion. This isn't just my like interpretation of how the world works. Like it's science,
This is science, and I can lay it at the feet of science. And
Yeah.
I know I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
It legitimizes
Yes.
the things that I know have worked for me. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So those binaural beats, I love that you use sound as part of your program.
Yeah.
I use it in my own with clients. I've used sound, and I've worked with people who have had strokes and people who have had, from like stroke to emotional.
Yeah.
I've always loved to add these layered components of healing modalities.
Yeah.
And then like creating recipes, so I call it like this buffet of healing
I love that.
where you can come and you
Yeah.
can sample and you can,
That's the
you
thing.
can
There's
take.
not one path. And it's
Exactly.
like that take what works, take little bits, and it's all investing in yourself. It
Absolutely.
all adds up and the compound interest starts to kind of add up over time. So
Yes.
but as long as you're just moving forward every day and taking something and, forward.
I love that, the wealth of
momentum.
compounding.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so true. It is
Yeah.
so true.
Because that makes you kind of it helps you understand like why micro shifts are so powerful, because it's like you
Yes.
think just taking one deep breath a day is going to do anything. And it's just like, yeah, but you do that every single day at the same time over the course of a year.
Yeah.
That's a new habit you have now.
That's right. And it starts to make you crave more.
Well, exactly. And then it releases dopamine. And then that's what gives you motivation. And that helps drive the bus.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, listeners, I hope that you are like, I probably should have started this all off with grab a notebook, grab a pen. There's just so many nuggets of gold in all of this. Pick and choose what works for you. But if you would like to work directly with Tina and start her program, start making changes to your life in a very easy, simple way, how can they find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So on Instagram, I'm at Rewired Manifester, and I've got a 30-day program. That's a great place to start. And then once people do that, you can go I have a monthly club. So to kind of like maintain, maintenance. And then you can also work with me one-on-one. But all that's, you can get the link off of my Instagram.
That's fantastic. I'll also put it in the show notes. So just scroll down, click on that, get started immediately. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I'm always giving homework, and this is a big, like, if I knew how to put like blinking lights and sirens into a video, this would be awesome homework. Awesome homework. At the very, very, very least, go follow Tina on Instagram, because she shows up all the time with information and tips and the explanation of how all of this works. And you watch that enough times and it really does start to make sense. And you go, oh, wait a second, this really isn't as convoluted as I thought it was going to be. I get that it's not going to be an easy road, but it is a simple map to follow.
Yeah.
And it has huge impact.
Yeah. You have to do the work. But the work can be simple.
That.
Yes.
And she's not like, do the work. She's not like, she's very serious. This is something you have to commit to every single day. If you want to create a new version of you, commit to that new version of you.
Yes.
And then she gives you the roadmap of how to actually get there. It's simple. It's just like
It
playing a
is
board
simple.
game. You're just going to move forward. Sometimes I like
And
call it shoots and
it's
ladders.
funny because
You make progress, you
yeah,
slide back.
yeah. Yeah, but it does start to feel like a game. I mean, I have I've had that feeling before.
Mhm.
I'm like, God, I feel like I'm in a video game, and it's like I get to wake up and I get to do this and I get to
Yeah,
see where this takes us, and it does get fun because it's you start feeling the effects and you start seeing it working, and it does feel like you're in a game. And you're like, this is my life.
absolutely.
This is amazing.
And it's neat the curiosity of it always gets to me where I think it's really neat to see how things show up so
Yes.
vastly different from what I had intended.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, wait a second. So that's the other thing that I have found to be true is that I manifest the feeling
Hmm.
and not necessarily the thing.
Yeah, you can't be too attached on the outcome because that creates that sort of is dysregulating for your nervous system. So you can't
Because
be
if the
attached to the
thing doesn't show up, you go, oh, fuck. Yeah.
yeah, and this isn't working and da, da, da. And so it's
Right.
like you really just like the vibe of what you want, the feeling of what you want. That's what you focus on.
I
Like
loved
the
that.
like the feeling
You
of
were like,
freedom. Yeah. 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 It's sort of
but
like
yeah.
when you're too attached to the specific outcome, that it's like a repelling energy. It sort of
Yeah.
pushes it away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
had to
Yeah.
learn that. I've had to learn that one the hard way.
I think all of us who have been um, doing the work of manifesting think that I could safely say 100% of us has had to learn the hard way
Yes.
that through disappointment
Yeah.
and through a feeling of total failure.
Yeah. And then you start thinking, well, this isn't working. And then
Right.
you realize
Oh, and
like,
it's
well,
me. It must be me. I'm bad at
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then you've got a whole lot of experts out there who are saying, you're just not doing it right. So try it this way and try it
Try
that
harder.
way.
Yeah.
Try harder, work
Yeah.
harder,
Yeah.
right? I like that you are work smarter.
Yeah.
I'm that kind of gal.
Yeah.
Don't work
I'm
harder, work
lazy. I mean,
smarter.
I don't know if you know human design, but I'm a projector. Like we are not designed to work hard. Like we are designed to work smart.
I'm a manifesting generator. Like
Yeah.
I'm perfectly comfortable with working and doing.
Yes.
But so that was my struggle
Yeah.
throughout learning the science of manifesting was sort of breaking down the have to do because it's as long as I work hard, I
Yeah.
get results.
Yeah.
And learning to let that go,
That's tricky.
that was a tough one, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still struggle with that all the time. What do you mean there's not something I can do? Of course there's
Yeah.
something I can do. Like
Well, sometimes rest is the doing.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to remind myself.
Yeah.
Oh, stepping back. That's what I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah.
Resting. That's right.
But that's not how our society is
regulating,
programmed. Yeah,
re-regulating.
exactly. Like our society is just not programmed for that. So it's kind of like understanding what the new rules are, you know?
Yeah. And trying to remember
Yes.
that just because the world around us tells us to do, go, oh, wait a second. That's right.
Yeah.
What was I supposed to be doing for myself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
And bring yourself.
how am I supposed to authentically show up in the world?
Yeah.
And that's different for everyone, but it's really kind of like it's just kind of getting to know yourself on a deeper level.
I love this. Thank you so much for having this
Thank
conversation
you.
with me. Oh my gosh. I'm going to wrap this up, everybody. Tina, before I do you have any parting words? Is there anything that I
Oh,
missed
gosh.
out on? Did we not cover something that you were like, this has to be said?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot. I think it's really just understanding that when you change your energy, you change your life and you put yourself back in the driver's seat of your life.
I love that. I am here for the empowerment of the individual.
Yes.
I truly believe that once we change within and create the version of us where we shine and we thrive and we are our very best, that changes everything that we experience and it changes everybody around us. It
Yeah.
makes you the inspiration in your life, just simply by being you.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for
Thank
being on
you.
Find Your Flow. Oh my God, Tina, this has been an absolute joy. Listener, thank you for listening. I so appreciate you being here. And leave comments, leave questions. Go follow Tina on Instagram and then visit her website. Schedule some time. Go check out everything that she's doing. I swear to God, it will change your life.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it, listener. Before you go, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and set your notifications to never miss an episode. If you'd like even more with me, come on over to nagarelife.com. And if you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, go on and share it. Share it with somebody that you think would enjoy it as well. All right, I'll see you next time.